Good morning, everyone. It's March 5th, 2020. I'm still talking a little bit funny. That's why I hadn't been on in, 4 or 5 days. But I have to say something here. I do apologize for my speech impairment at the moment. I had to have the last of my teeth removed because they were causing an infection in my mouth, and my face was swollen up like the Elephant Man. And now I got to get implants, and I can't do that until end of July, maybe early August. I'm not risking myself to go to one of these places now because there's too many very unknown variables concerning this particular virus. So it turns out that most of the people out there on our side of things were correct, and the government is incorrect, incompetent, and incredibly fucking stupid. The only one that's trying to tell the truth is Dr. Anthony Felcher, or something like that. And he's the one that keeps on correcting Donald Trump on the length of time it's going to take to develop vaccines. And let's be honest here. Back in the time of the Spanish flu, they did the same thing. They're behaving almost exactly the same way as the officials did back then. And they hastily threw together some vaccines, and they were not effective. They weren't effective. And what we will see is the same thing. The reason being for this is because they cannot account for the various mutations that take place in diseases. This is why they can't get the seasonal flu vaccine correct, because they don't know which mutation it's going to be. So anyone who's holding out hope for a vaccine, I would advise you that this is not going to happen. And if it does happen, the vaccine will end up being more dangerous than the disease itself. So, anywho, they gave me a pair of fake teeth to use until I go in for my implants. And from what I understand, it's very, very painful, and I'm not sure I want to be put back on Lortabs or Narcos for that length of time. It's been many months now since I've taken any, and I don't think I want to start taking them again. But please do forgive me for my little impairment here. As I get used to having these damn things in my mouth, I'll speak better and better. So bear with me. So I have a video I want to show you, and it's concerning the supply chain. Now, remember, when all this first started, I warned that all this stuff was going to happen. My very first video, I explained what was going to unfold. And everything I explained in my first video has unfolded. Okay? And they keep on saying that there's no evidence that this virus is a bioweapon. But that's a lie. You see, if you trust government officials, you will die. You will die. Flat out. At minimum, you'll get sick. Okay? Don't trust government officials because they're only out to save their own asses. So check out this video here.
Hey y'all. Okay. Anybody who know me know that I work over here at the ports. Well, I want y'all to see this because this is the stuff that gets sent in to us, from China and other places, to let us know, stuff that we buy and go shopping for. As you can see, I'm in my truck. Sorry, it's dark. Let me turn the light on. As y'all can see, I am in a truck. I'm in my truck. I only go to the port, so I don't I don't have a super, living condition stuff. But if you look over here at this side, you can see these cans? They normally stack up as high as a building. But for some reason, it's empty. Let me get out and show y'all. Now, I'm not supposed to be videoing over here, so I'm going to try to keep this as low profile as possible. But check this out. See these cans? They not that tall. These things are usually stacked up like buildings. And this side is completely empty. Look, there's no bolts. There's no nothing. There's just this stack of cans. That's it. Now, I'm going to take y'all around to another part of the ports to show y'all how empty this is. Because this is the stuff that we buy, the stuff that we shop for in stores. And if there's no cans here, there's no imports. Look at that. You can see all the way over to trucks going on the other side, which lets you know that this is deserted. I should have took a video of the other port that I just came from, which was the China port called Yangming. This is just as empty as this one. There's nothing going on. And there's no trucks here. And this place is usually having hundreds of trucks. Look, there's one. That's an empty can that they're bringing. So mostly it's like empty cans are coming in and there's nothing going out. So y'all better buy whatever y'all gonna buy because there's no telling how long this is gonna go on. And apparently this is supposed to be because of the virus. Now, this is a real view. This is the real deal of what's going on. This is not something that's being on the news. This is me out here on the field doing this, letting y'all know what's going on. That truck, it's probably got a load, but look at this. This place is empty. These things are tall as buildings and stacked a lot, but it's not happening today. So I'm walking around.
Alright, so as I told you a couple videos ago, the food supply, the toilet paper, all that stuff is going to be run out soon. I mean really soon. Alright? Now, over the past 2 weeks, actually, more like week, over the last week, I have spent around $1,200 in food. I've upped my preps. I've got 2 chickens and a rooster, as you can hear in the background. I got a bunch of chicken feed. I got stuff to purify my water, just in case. Okay? We got gas masks. We got gloves. We got all kinds of shit. We got enough food on the main floor of our home now to last us 4 to 6 months. And then below us, we have about a year and a half, 2 years worth of food down there. If you don't prepare properly, you're going to be fucked in a very, very profound way. What do I advise you to do? Well, I advise you to buy everything that you normally buy, only double, triple, and in some instances, quadruple the amount. For example, we usually buy two things of bacon, okay? Well, instead, I bought 4. 2 things of sausage, I bought 4. And so on and so forth. Whatever we normally use, I at least, at the very minimum, doubled up on it. Now, there's some argument out there as to whether this virus is actually real. And it is. It's actually a real virus. And there is denial going on regarding its origins. Right? And I don't think there's too much denial in this. I explained to you, the very first video I did, that DNA is a lot like computer code. Only it's comprised of alphabetic coding as opposed to ones and zeros. And there's other types of computer code, such as HTML, where you set parameters, and the same thing can be done to DNA. A virus can be engineered to mutate every so many days, every so many hours, however they choose to do it. Okay? And there is a lot of denial going on regarding this virus and its danger. We have people on the mainstream media, so-called, what do they call them, health experts, telling you you don't need a face mask. It won't help you. Right? I know you all heard this. But here's the deal. If it doesn't help you, then why the fuck do doctors wear them? Why do dentists wear them? Why do nurses wear them? Why are the people caring for the COVID patients wearing them if they're not effective? They can at least be honest, okay? They can at least tell you, hey, there's a massive shortage of this PPE. And we would like for the public to refrain from buying up all of the PPE because our healthcare professionals are going to need it. But instead, what they do is tell you a fucking bald-faced lie, which is why you can never trust a government. Never trust a government. Never trust a government agency. Now, don't get me wrong. There are instances where certain officials try to tell the truth, but they are quickly silenced. Alright, I have some articles up for you here. Alright, I got a piece of hair floating around my face, so driving me crazy. My wife, she has a lot of blonde hair. And man, this shit is everywhere. Oh, come on. Let's see if this one's up. There we go. Alright. What are the odds? A timeline of facts linking COVID-19, HIV, and Wuhan's secret bio lab. And this comes from Tyler Durden of Zero Hedge. Now, as you know, Zero Hedge was permanently banned from Twitter for sharing the publicly available details of the man who ran the show as far as a batsuit virology in Wuhan's super secret biolab, which is now a common talking point and rapidly shifting from conspiracy theory to conspiracy fact. Scott Burke, CEO of crypto-related firm Groundhog, unleashed what we feel may be the most complete timeline of facts to help understand the controversial link between COVID-19 and HIV, and COVID-19 and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Now, we're going to go down a fact-based rabbit hole, and look, you keep hearing these people tell you facts, but they keep on giving you non-facts. Okay? They keep on lying to you. Donald Trump keeps on fucking lying to you. All these people. The WHO. And man, can you imagine any... If we did our jobs as badly as the WHO, the CDC, and so on and so forth, we would get fucking fired. But not these guys. Not these guys. Alright. I'm not a biologist. Okay? And neither is the person who wrote this. But they have synthesized what we have learned since the outbreak began and reviewing public scientific papers. And I believe each of the following statements is a solid fact, backed up by a citation. I also want to say that I understand some people are worried about blame being cast for this outbreak. But I don't give a shit about feelings, people. I don't care. I don't give a shit if it's politically incorrect to point the finger. Alright? I don't fucking care. And this was one of the considerations in naming this virus COVID-19. No. It's the Wu flu. It's virus 21 or virus 201. As in Agenda 21. I do think, however, that information is being downplayed and suppressed by some scientists and media outlets, and it's our duty to find out the facts about this virus. And by the way, containment, there is zero hope of containment. There is no containing it now. It's too late. If they wanted to contain it, they should have started back in November. Okay? Alright, let's do this. Okay, so there's the original SARS, which is a type of coronavirus. SARS infects cells through the ACE2 receptor in hosts. The S spike protein plays a key role in how the virus infects cells. Each of the little spikes that surround the coronavirus is a spike protein or S protein. That's what gives the coronavirus its name. Okay? The crown of spikes, or the crown of thorns, if you like. The S protein binds to the targeted cells through the ACE2 receptor, and boom, your cell is infected and becomes a virus replication factory. Yep. After the first SARS outbreak, there was a land rush to find other coronaviruses. A collection of SARS-like coronaviruses was isolated in several horseshoe bat species over 10 years ago, called SARS-like CoVs or SLCoVs. Not SARS exactly, but coronaviruses similar to SARS. Okay? They're similar. In 2007, a team of researchers based in Wuhan, in conjunction with an Australian laboratory, conducted a study with SARS, a SARS-like coronavirus, and HIV-1. Are you following me? Now, I'm not going to, I will leave a link to this article in the description box or the first pinned comment, whichever. I'm not going to read the medical or scientific paper because it's very dry and it's very boring. So, don't get me wrong, I have read it, okay? But for the purpose of this video, we'll just keep going. The researchers noted that if small changes were made to the S protein, it broke how SARS-CoV worked. It could no longer go in via ACE2. So they inferred that the S protein was critical to the SARS attack vector. Activation of the SARS coronavirus spike protein via sequential proteolytic cleavage at two distinct sites. That was a mouthful. Another dry medical paper, and again, I will put the link below. They also predicted, based on the S-ACE2 binding structure, that SARS-like CoVs were not able to use the same attack method. So, what they do? They decided to create a pseudovirus where they essentially put a SARS-like CoV in an HIV envelope, and it worked. Now, Dr. Cottrell has a video up, he put it up last night, going over all the coding. I recommend you check it out. Using an HIV envelope, they replace the RBD, receptor binding domain. It sounds a lot like computer coding, right? Receptor binding domain. The SLCoV with that SARS-CoV, and used it to successfully infect bats through ACE2 mediation. 12 years go by. A SARS-like CoV begins sweeping the globe that is far more infectious than previous outbreaks. Ground zero for this outbreak, not first human patient, but first spreading event, is considered to be Wuhan Seafood Market. Wuhan Seafood Market is 20 miles from the National Biosafety Laboratory at Wuhan Institute of Virology. Amidst the outbreak, a team of Indian bioinformatics specialists at Delhi University released a paper preprint, and that was uncanny similarity of unique inserts in the 2019 nCoV spike protein to HIV-1. Remember, I covered this. And COVID-19 has a unique sequence of about 1,378 nucleotides, base pairs along that is not found in related coronaviruses. They claim to identify genetic similarities in this unique material between COVID-19 and HIV-1. And by the way, they're now saying that there's two of these floating around. One not so virulent and not so deadly, the other, but there's five. There's 5 of these going around. 5. Two of the sequences were perfect matches, albeit short, and 2 of the sequences were matched, but each with an additional string of non-matching material appearing in the middle of the sequence. The paper was criticized, and numerous attempts have been made to debunk it. After the criticism, the authors voluntarily withdrew it, intending to revise it based on comments made about their technical approach and conclusions. One key debunking attempt claims the same sequences are found in a variant called beta-cov bat Yunnan RA-TG 2013, which had been found in the wild in bats. This is an attempt to prove that this was not engineered but mutated naturally in the wild. There's a problem. The strain was only known by and studied at the Wuhan Virology Institute, and although they claim it was discovered in 2013, it wasn't published or shared with the scientific community until immediately after the Indian paper on January 27th, 2020. How strange is that? The RAT-G13 strain publication, and I say RAT-G because that's how it's spelled out there, and the HIV research paper from 2008 share an author. I discovered this on my own by comparing the 2 papers and then quickly realizing the scientist's contact information was the information that Zero Hedge was suspended from Twitter for sharing. Their article identifies this author in question, including some contact information from the Wuhan Virology Institute website. There is a line of inquiry about how the sequences are remarkably stable between the bat CoV and the nCoV, where in nature they would likely have mutated in between their shared evolution. Also, a call for greater scientific evidence that the strain was collected in the wild. It was not collected in the wild. So these people are telling you bald-faced lies. And people out there are believing them. I bet. I bet if I were to take this mask out at a store before I went in and I put it on my face, I bet I would be attacked for not giving a shit about those frontline healthcare workers. Listen, it's not my job to give a shit about those people. Okay? They should have stockpiled all the stuff they needed for a pandemic, but didn't. Alright? It's not up to my family to go without something because the government made fucking giant mistakes. And it's not your job either. They failed in their duties. They failed. And if this thing gets bad enough, and I hope it does, I hope it affects Congress, the Senate, the presidency, all of them. I hope that this makes a real long-lasting impression on people. Remember who the fucking liars were. Okay? It wasn't Dr. Cottrell. It wasn't me. It was the government that lied to you and continues to lie to you. But there's plenty of evidence that this was not a natural mutation in the wild. What are the odds that a SARS-like coronavirus with overlapping genetics from HIV mutated and crossed over into humans next door to a laboratory which has been enhancing coronavirus with HIV for over a decade? What are the odds? Remember we talked about probability? Speaking of probability, they keep on saying that the risks to the public is very low. And maybe they're right. Maybe the risk to you is low at this time. I don't think it is, but maybe they're right. But with each infected person, the probability increases that you're not safe to go out in public. All right? So make no mistake about this. They are lying to you. Make no mistake that this was a bioweapon attack. And at maximum, and at minimum, an accidental release, which I don't really think is likely. Okay? I'm just saying, okay? Now, this is the same article over at Zero Hedge, I believe. Oh, no, it's not. So they demolished the Wuhan seafood market. I wonder why that is. I bet because it showed that there is no evidence that this virus came from that seafood market. And the WHO has yet to declare this a pandemic, okay? But it already is, and it has been for at least a couple weeks. Alright, so this one is on Zero Hedge. Pandemic proportions. COVID-19 is starting to spiral out of control all over the globe. And this comes from Michael Schneider. This is already the most frightening virus outbreak that we have seen in the past several decades, and it appears that it is just getting started. You keep hearing reports out of China that they're getting it under control, but the the emissions from China says something completely different. Listen, don't listen to their words. Look at their actions. Do their actions match their words? No, they don't. A week ago, there were about 3,000 confirmed cases outside of China, and now there are more than 10,000. Okay? And Dr. Anthony Fauci, or Fauci, however you say his name, stunned many people when he told NBC that Corona or COVID-19 has likely reached pandemic proportions. See, he's the only one that's trying to be honest. When they put him on the spot concerning these masks, he said that if they and I'm paraphrasing here, but if they work for doctors, why wouldn't they work for us? He was honest and said, no, we need them because there's a shortage to protect the frontline healthcare workers. I'm not going to a hospital. Now, I don't care if I die or not. I'm not going to a hospital to be locked up in some fucking camp that has you inside of chain link fences that are 6 to 9 feet tall with razor wire turned inwards. In other words, they're trying to keep you in that place and making it difficult for you to escape. I wonder why that is. So, again, people, if you believe what you're being told by the government, rest in peace. Now, one more thing I would like to mention here is that this virus necronizes heart tissue, meaning it eats heart tissue. Okay? So, don't believe what you're being told on mainstream media. I've been watching. I've been taking note. I've been listening to all the different sides, and the conclusion I come to is that, in my opinion, this was intentionally released, and there's multiple strains. And I said that in my first video. There's multiple strains. There's 5 of them. And as each one of these strains mutates, it creates a new strain. So God only knows how many strains of this shit is going around now. I do recommend that you, if you're not in one of the cities with cleared out shelves, that you go ahead and buy as much food and other things as you can. Because this year is going to be a long fucking year. And hopefully, it destroys the government's ability to operate. Hopefully. And until next time, kill the state and live free.